Hey guys, welcome back to another Battlefield 6 news video, and today we got the patch notes for update 1.3.3.0, which will drop next Tuesday on June 30th, and will add some new content to Battlefield 6, but also a lot of changes and improvements, especially to gunplay. So we're gonna go over the most important changes and improvements, not all of the fixes, but I'm gonna link the patch notes in the description below in case you want to read through the full thing. Also, in today's video, we're really just reading through the patch notes. I cannot show you any comparisons, of course, but I'm gonna do my comparison video as usual once the update has dropped to show you what has actually changed in the update. But we're gonna start with a quick overview of the new content that we can expect to see. So this is the third content drop of Season 3, which means that this is the smallest content drop. And this will bring a new event to the game that is called Wet Works. And with this event, there will be new challenges and a new bonus path for the Battle Pass as usual. And there will not be any new weapons. Well, there will be one new weapon, which is a melee weapon, the EOD bot arm, that you can unlock through the bonus path, but there will be no primary or secondary weapons or any gadgets. What we can expect to see though are two new attachments, which is the compensator and subsonic ammunition. There will also be a new gameplay mechanic with this event where you can pick up contracts from dead enemies during a match and then complete them. For example, do a certain amount of kills until the end of the match or survive for a specific amount of time. What we can also expect to see is a new game mode, or kind of new, that is called Tactical Obliteration. So this is obliteration as an 8v8 mode on smaller maps with a little bit different rules. So you only need to destroy 2 enemy MCOMs to win a match. And what we will see as well is Casual Battle Royale. So this is quads that will be filled up with bots. Similar to Initiation Battle Royale, where you play duos against bots, this will be the quads version. And now we're heading over to the changes and improvements that we can expect to see in this new update. And we're gonna get in with the gunplay because this is simply the biggest part of this update and probably the most important part. I've already talked about this in yesterday's video, but in case you missed this, here is another quick rundown of the changes that we can expect to see. Also, finally, with the numbers that we can expect to see. So first of all, the bullet velocity and drag will change. So bullets will travel slightly slower and lose speed more quickly over distance, which increases the importance of leading your shots on moving targets and rewards more precise aiming. And this means that for most weapons, the muzzle velocity was reduced by around 5%. Here's the full list of all of the weapons. If you're looking for a specific one, just stop the video. But most of them are somewhere around 5%. The only weapon that got its muzzle velocity increased is the KV-9, which got a 4% increase. And when we're talking about bullet drag, which means how far your projectile drops on range, this has been increased by 40% across all weapons and by 100% when you're using match-grade ammunition. Moving on, we've also got changes to the recoil variation. This was reduced across basically all of the weapons to make their behavior, or to make the recoil behavior, more predictable and controllable. And for most weapons, this reduction is somewhere around 20%. Again, here we have a long list of all of the weapons that got their recoil variation reduced. So, for example, the TR7 got it decreased by 13%. The Cord got its recoil variation reduced by 18%. The KV-9 by 13% as well, and so on. But what was increased in return is the weapon dispersion for almost all weapons. And here, this mostly affects weapons with higher damage output, because these experience a more aggressive increase in dispersion after the first shot. But weapons with a lower damage output are affected less by this increase in dispersion. And some of them even get a slightly reduced dispersion growth. But on average, the dispersion growth has been increased by 14%. And what we got as well when we were talking about the weapons are changes to the damage multipliers. So now damage to limbs and lower torso was reduced for all weapon classes except for the shotguns and sidearms. And here we have the pictures again. So for the automatic weapons, it was reduced from 1 to 0.84. For DMRs, it was reduced to 0.91, also down from 1. And for sniper rifles, it was reduced from 0.8 down to 0.67. So precise aiming is getting more important, especially with sniper rifles, and this change might also increase the time to kill, at least slightly. I said it yesterday, according to the developers, this might increase the time to kill for each weapon by about 1 bullet. And lastly, what was also changed when it comes to gunplay is the sweet spot for bolt action rifles, so for sniper rifles, and the sweet spot is the range within which you are one shot to the upper body to a sniper. So these ranges have been narrowed down to the values we can see right here. The Mini Scout doesn't have a sweet spot, so here there are no changes. And another change that was made that was not mentioned yesterday is that starting next week, the two sidearms M45A1 and VZ61 will use subsonic ammunition by default. Next up, we have some changes to vehicles. Here they're specifically targeting vehicle equipment and weapons that are under or overperforming. So we can see this in some small adjustments to the damage output of MBTs, IFVs, and the mobile anti-air. You can see the numbers right here if that's interesting for you. And what they've also done is that they have increased the attack helicopter heavy rocket damage against tanks, helicopters, and jets. The emergency countermeasures cooldown acceleration was reduced from 2x to 1.5x. The emergency repair pause was increased from 1 to 2 seconds. The projectile intercept system activation time was reduced to 0.55 seconds, and they've done some additional changes to the thermal smoke. So here the damage that the smoke is dealing received a cap increase from 75% to 100%. It also no longer removes C4 explosives that are around the vehicle or on the vehicle, and it now needs to cover the middle of the tank for it to gain damage resistance benefits. But what they've done is that they applied the effects of the thermal smoke to the smoke generator as well. So this also has the damage reduction benefits, which means that when a vehicle is inside of the cloud of smoke, then no matter at which angle it is hit, all hits are only registering as minimum damage. Next up, we also got 3 interesting changes to the gadgets. Here, first of all, the RPG got its damage increased again. So after the update, it will deal between 188 to 500 against tanks and 1125 against helicopters. What was also changed is that flashbangs no longer deal damage to gadgets, and tracer darts are temporarily disabled when the attached vehicle activates countermeasures. In addition to this, we will also see some more changes to the netcode and the damage feedback. So with this update, the hit confirmations, damage feedback, server-side damage handling, bandwidth, prioritization, and time nudge behavior have received further tuning to reduce delayed damage, late enemy position updates, and extreme cases of dying behind cover. Let's see if that helps, because with the last update it felt like this whole netcode or damage feedback thing actually got worse again. And then we also got some other changes as well that I'm just going to group up into this last point here. So obliteration now backfills with bots. They've added a mark all seen button to loadouts, battle pass, store profile, challenges, and to the play screen. So if the yellow dots start to show up again, you can now remove all of them with this button. Then there will be a new event tab that is going to be added, which makes it easier to explore event content and track its progress on it. They have changed the distance limits for displaying nearby medics when you are downed. So this have been changed down to 50 meters. And they have added a new option to disable projection for hit indicators separately from the crosshair, which allows hit indicators to remain centered on the screen instead of following the side. And lastly, as usual, we have a handful of changes to REDSEC. Here, first of all, they will add a new recon training path that is called Disruptor and will add the mobile jammer and the hardware suppression system to REDSEC. The class crates, armory crates, and tactical crates will reset and become lootable again once the second chance was globally disabled during a match. Grenade launchers and explosives will no longer be able to open safes in Battle Royale. The lighting has been improved once again to address this visual glitch that you're seeing around the downtown area, but they will keep working on this. I already talked about this in yesterday's video. And what they've changed as well is the distance limit for displaying nearby medics, just like they did for the multiplayer, but here in Battle Royale the limit now goes down to 100 meters, and the compass UI now correctly shows the presence of shooting enemies in Battle Royale. So these were all the most important changes and fixes, but like I said, I will also go over them again in a separate video where I'm going to show you the side-by-side comparisons and what has actually changed once I tried it out, once the update has dropped. So if you enjoyed this video right here, even though it was really only reading out those patch notes, but if you enjoyed it and you want to stay tuned for more content like this, be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. I'm the Catwoman and you are awesome.